Hooray for Tuesday. Oh boy. Which one? Which one? Which one? We have, for tonight, Miss Nelson is back, or Ferdinand. And carefully orchestrated ballot count on the back of this envelope here. We have 9 votes for Miss Nelson and 5 votes for Ferdinand. So our winner for tonight is Miss Nelson is back. Oh boy. Yay. And I don't know if there's any more Miss Nelson books. I know that there are the 3. I've read 2 of them, and this is the 3rd one. So if there's any more, I guess I'm gonna have to go find them, because y'all dig Miss Nelson a lot, and I see that. So let's get started. Miss Nelson is Back by Harry Allard and James Marshall. Dang, there's a lot of pages to get this book started. And here's another one. I wonder if that's the Texas flag. I didn't know this book took place in Texas. All right, here we go. One Friday, Miss Nelson told her class she was going to have her tonsils out. "I'll be away next week," she said, "and I expect you to behave." "Yes, Miss Nelson," said the kids in 207. But at recess, that was another story. "Wow," said the kids. "While Miss Nelson is away, we can really act up." "Not so fast," said a big kid from 309. "Haven't you heard of Viola's Swamp?" "Who?" said Miss Nelson's kids. "Miss Swamp is the meanest substitute in the whole world," said the big kid. "Nobody acts up when she's around." "Ooh," said Miss Nelson's kids. "She's a real witch," said the big kid. "Ooh," said Miss Nelson's kids. "I'll just bet you get the swamp." On Monday morning, Miss Nelson's kids were all in their seats. They were very nervous. Some of them had not slept well all weekend. "If we get the swamp, I'll just die," said one kid. They heard footsteps in the hall. Slowly the knob turned, and the door opened, and it was Mr. Blansworth, the principal. Look at this fool. Look at that. "I shall personally take over this class." Miss Nelson's kids were so relieved. But they soon learned that Mr. Blansworth was not a lot of fun. All morning, Mr. Blansworth tried to amuse the class with his corny card tricks. "Oh, brother," said the class. That afternoon, Mr. Blansworth showed the class his favorite shadow pictures. "This is kids' stuff," said the class. Oh dear. Oh no. The next day, Mr. Blansworth demonstrated his favorite bird calls. They were not a success. And for 2 days, Mr. Blansworth showed slides of his goldfish, Lucille. Miss Nelson's kids had never been so bored. Oh dear. While dusting erasers in the schoolyard, 3 of the ringleaders of 207 discussed the situation. "Something will have to be done," they said. "We must get rid of Blansworth." And they hatched a plot. After school, they painted and sewed and borrowed some old clothes. And they practiced some very difficult stunt work in the backyard. Oh dear. The next day, they weren't in class. "That's too bad," said Mr. Blansworth. "They'll miss all the excitement." Mr. Blansworth was about to show the class his collection of ballpoint pens when someone came to the door. Look at those ballpoint pens from all around the world. Oh, that's exciting. But who's at the door? Slowly, the knob turned, and the door opened. "Oh, look," said the class. "Miss Nelson is back." A tall and lumpy Miss Nelson tottered into the room. Mr. Blansworth was surprised. "You're back sooner than we expected," he said. The tall and lumpy Miss Nelson didn't speak. Said the kids. "Her throat must still be sore." "Are you sure you're well enough?" said Mr. Blansworth. "She's sure," said the kids. "Well, in that case," said the principal, "I'll be getting back to the office. Nice to have you back, Miss Nelson." And he left the room. Oh dear. Oh dear. "Hot dog!" cried the class. "We got rid of Blansworth. Now we can do just as we please." And at the stroke of 10, the kids from 207 left the building. No one stopped them. They went straight to the movies, where they saw The Monster That Ate Chicago twice. "This is really livin'," they said. Afterwards, they went to Lulu's, where they stuffed themselves silly. But they soon made a serious mistake. Heading back to school, they passed Miss Nelson's house. Miss Nelson couldn't believe her eyes. "Those are my kids," she said in a scratchy voice. "What are they doing out of school? And who's that with them?" Miss Nelson telephoned Mr. Blansworth to see what was going on. "You're not Miss Nelson," said Blansworth. "Miss Nelson is back." And he hung up. "Can't fool me," he said. Said Miss Nelson. "Something will have to be done." And she went to her closet. Back in 207, Miss Nelson's kids were spending an agreeable afternoon. They were very pleased with themselves. "We should do this more often," they said. They did not notice the figure out in the hall. Slowly the knob turned, and the door opened. "My name is Viola Swamp," said the lady in a scratchy voice. "Yipes!" cried the kids. "The swamp!" "That's right," said Miss Swamp, "and I'm here to whip this class into shape. Get those desks back in order, on the double." The class did as it was told. The big kid from 309 was certainly right. Miss Swamp was a real witch. She knew how to get results. The class did a whole week's work in no time. "We shouldn't have got rid of Blansworth," they said. "Pipe down," said the Swamp. Or just then, something under the desk attracted her attention. It was a mask. "Aha!" said Miss Swamp. "So that's your little game." And she tried on the mask, just as Mr. Blansworth stepped into the room. Miss Nelson, said Blansworth, I'm of the opinion that someone has been impersonating you. Uh-oh, whispered the kids. You don't say, said Miss Swamp. Probably just some kids acting up. I'm sure it won't happen again. And Mr. Blansworth left. And it will. It won't happen again, will it? Said Miss Swamp to the class. Because the swamp will be watching. Sounds like that person in Monsters, Inc. Always watching. Yeah, that's weird. Okay. A minute later, Miss Nelson appeared. I'm back, she said. Hot dog, cried the kids. Are we glad to see you? Didn't you have fun with Miss Blansworth? Asked Miss Nelson. Asked the kids. They decided not to mention Miss Viola's swamp, but they wondered why Miss Nelson hadn't seen her in the hall. The end. Okay, so our Bible story for tonight is Noah's Ark from the Jesus Storybook Bible. Time passed, and many people filled the earth. Everyone everywhere had forgotten about God and were only doing bad things all the time. God's heart was filled with pain when he saw what had happened to the world he loved. Everywhere was disease and death and destruction, all the things God hates most. Now Noah was God's friend, which was odd in those days because no one else was. Noah listened to God. He talked to God. He just loved being with God, like you do with your best friend. Noah, God said, things have gone wrong. People have filled my world with hate instead of love. They are destroying themselves and each other and my world. I must stop them. First, we'll build an ark. Do you know how to build an ark? Neither did Noah. Luckily, God knew, and he would show him. A storm is coming, God told Noah. But I will rescue you. I promise. I'll send the animals to you. Ones that creep and crawl and slither and slime and gallop and hop and bound and climb. And don't forget to pack everyone's food. It's very important. I like food. The storm was going to wash away all the hate and sadness and everything that had gone wrong and make the world clean again. God had thought up a way to keep Noah safe, but Noah would have to trust God and do exactly what God told him. So Noah built an ark, short for a very large boat. Noah's neighbors came out to watch, and point, and laugh, because they didn't believe Noah about the boat, or the storm, or needing to be rescued. And Noah must have looked rather silly. His boat was in the middle of the desert, nowhere near the sea, and there wasn't even a cloud in the sky. Why would anyone need an umbrella, let alone a boat? But Noah didn't mind so much what other people thought. He minded what God thought. So he just did what God told him to do. When the ark was ready, God said, "All aboard!" And Noah's family and all the animals climbed inside. Then God shut the door. And it started raining. For minutes that joined up into hours, that joined up into days, that joined up into weeks and weeks. And the rain joined up into puddles, that joined up into rivers, that joined up into the lakes, and joined up into a flood that covered the whole world. The boat that had once seemed so big suddenly seemed very small. But in the midst of the huge storm, and the crashing waves, and all the thunder and lightning, through it all, God was with them. And God kept them safe for 40 long days and 40 long nights. Finally, the rain stopped. The sun came out, and Noah threw open all the windows. "Hooray!" everyone shouted. Noah sent his dove out to explore, and it wasn't long before she brought him back a fresh olive leaf. Everyone knew exactly what that meant. She had found a tree, and land. The water was going down. Yay! Once again. At last the boat landed quite suddenly on top of a great mountain. As soon as it was safe, God said, "Out you come!" And so they did, skipping and dancing on the dry land. The first thing God did was to thank God for rescuing them, just as he had promised. And the first thing God did was make another promise. "I won't ever destroy the world again." And like a warrior who puts away his bow and arrow at the end of a great battle, God said, "See, I have hung my bow in the clouds." And there in the clouds, just where the storm meets the sun, there was a beautiful bow made of light. It was a new beginning in God's world. It wasn't long before everything went wrong again, but God wasn't surprised. He knew this would happen. That's why, before the beginning of time, he had another plan, a better plan. A plan not to destroy the world, but to rescue it. A plan to one day send his own son, the rescuer. God's strong anger against hate and sadness and death would come down once more, but not on his people or on his world. No, God's war bow was not pointing down at his people. It was pointing up into the heart of heaven. The end. Oh boy. So, I hope you enjoyed our story time today. Next week is coming up on Halloween. Yay! So, our stories for next week are trick-or-treat books with trick-or-treats. So, I found this book at the library. Thought it'd be fun. So, vote between Trick-or-Treat South Carolina or Arthur's Halloween. I can't believe that I have been doing this since March and have not read an Arthur book yet. But that's your choice is yours. So vote in the comments below or vote next week, and I will see you then. It'll be great. Bye.